Welcome back to the Healthy Skin Coach Show. I'm your host, Takashi, helping you get clear skin and preaching to the world why food is the ultimate medicine. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is MICHAELA MORRELL, and she is a nutritionist and a dietitian, and she runs the website foodchangelives.com. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So let's begin by first you kind of describing your background and how you became interested in nutrition.
Yeah, my background is that I have always known how much the food we're eating is able to help us in our lives. And this is because when I was a little girl, I had some issues. Obviously, my mom told me at least that I had a lot of anger. So she took me to this homeopath lady that was checking my values in nutrition in my body with the bioresonance machine. So she was measuring it, and she found that I was lacking some nutrients, and she was giving them to me, and I started to get better. And this was when I was young. So this have always been following me through my time growing up. And then biology and chemistry was always my favorite subject, that together with food and how we can change the way we're feeling. So that was why I took myself, why I was so fascinated about the nutrition aspect of our healing processes that we can do.
Mm-hmm. And do you work with clients directly, or do you have a separate kind of practice?
I work with them directly. I do a lot of counseling through the internet, actually, like through Zoom and stuff. So I have clients from all over the world that's reaching out to me, both from the United States, from Canada, from both Sweden and Norway and Brazil, and even from Dubai. So it's from all over the world.
Yeah, wow. That's similar to me. People are reaching out to me from Africa and Asia and South America because a lot of them have skin problems and their doctors or dermatologists just aren't helpful, and no amount of steroid creams or topicals will heal the skin if you haven't changed your diet, because it's really a gut problem. And that's what I tell them, and that's how I start to help them heal their skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are some of your most memorable client stories?
I am working with many interesting clients. And the one that have been affecting me the most is a boy that have ADHD, the improvement we have seen. And he actually, he had got autism as well. And the improvements we have seen in his ability to start speaking just from changing the food and making sure that his gut is functioning correctly, it's just amazing. But it's everything from people having pain in their joints when they're walking in stairs, from people with severe psoriasis that haven't got any help before. I mean, they are trying to get help, but nothing have really been helping them. They are just being prescribed medicines and antibiotics that is even ruining the gut even more. And it's just so frustrated to see how these people are just looped back into even a worse situation than they were before they tried to find a solution for the issue. I'm working with all different kinds of people with the gut, because most of us actually have problems with our gut, with leaky gut, and especially inflammation in our cell membranes. So I'm doing a lot of measuring in the cell membrane. I'm measuring how hard the cell walls are. I'm measuring what the omega-3, omega-6 ratio in the cells are. And when we can measure that, we also know how to correct that imbalance. And when we're able to correct that imbalance, the inflammation levels goes down, because we know that omega-6 is pro-inflammatory and omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. So when we're able to correct those, because this is the thing, I'm not sure, have you heard about this before, that the omega-3, omega-6 ratio in your cell membranes, how it's working?
Oh yeah, it should ideally be 1 to 1 to 1 to 3.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had yours checked out?
I've never had it checked out. Never.
No, because this is so interesting, because we know that omega-6 is pro-inflammatory. We know omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. So when we have equal amounts, the cell becomes neutral. But what's so fascinating is that not many people know what balance we have. And the reason, this is what I'm doing mostly right now, because I see that it's such a big problem out there. And I thought I was doing good. I have so much knowledge about omega-3, and I have been chosen omega-3 that I thought was good. And I've also been studying omega-3 in relationship with cancer, because my mom have had colon cancer 2 times and my grandpa died of it. So I'm trying really hard to try to help her prevent getting it again, and also for my own sake, to prevent me getting it, because it's very genetic. So I know that I need to have a 2.5-to-1 ratio. And when I took my first blood test, mine was 9.4-to-1. So I had 9.4 times too much omega-6 in every single cell. And when I have that much more, it's inflammation in my whole body. And my immune system is trying to fight that off. And that is showing itself. I had allergies. I was actually allergic to apples, bananas, avocados, carrots, and a bunch of other things due to my inflammation levels I had in my body. But being able to correct that, I could correct it so I don't need my allergy medicine anymore. And I just see that issue with so many people right now. And I think it's crucial to understand the ratio in your cell, understand how we can correct it, and do things to do that. Because that is, if we want to affect our health in one good way, that is like the biggest way you can affect your health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually have my omega-3s right here. Oh, you can't see it. Wait.
No.
You can't see it. It's flaxseed oil.
Yeah.
And it's got 540 milligrams of omega-3s. But I also have fish oil in the kitchen. And flaxseed oil is good, but it only has ALA, alpha linoleic acid. And you need EPA and DHA from fish oil. And so that's why I take both. And yeah, I mean, I'm doing a video, I believe tomorrow, on fish oil and the benefits of its anti-inflammatory properties, and how, for me, I'm super big into inflammation and reducing these inflammatory chemicals called mediators. And omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, help reduce the inflammatory cytokines, interleukin-1 beta and interleukin-6, as well as TNF-alpha, which accumulates in the body, especially if you have the wrong diet. And then people take all these TNF blockers like Humira to help reduce the inflammation when they could have just not eaten inflammatory foods to begin with. And I also look for foods that reduce leukotrienes and prostaglandins, which are inflammatory biomarkers. And a normal amount is important to fight off pathogens and viruses and bacteria. But most people don't watch their diet and have way too much of these inflammatory chemicals, and they have severe inflammatory responses. For example, with the coronavirus, people are dying from the cytokine storm instead of the virus itself. It's the inflammatory response from the body to the virus that is causing severe damage to the organs, and eventually the body shuts down. And the people who are prone to death from the coronavirus are people who are obese, diabetic, and it's really sad to see, because there are so many preventative measures that they could have taken in order to reduce the inflammation and prevent cytokine storms from happening in the first place.
Yeah, and that is really hard and disturbing, I feel, because a lot of people have heard that omega-3 is good for your brain function, or omega-3 is good for having a good heart. But almost no one out there is actually educating people that we get about 2 million cells that are regenerated every second. Every second, about 2 million cells. And all of these cells have omega-3 in their cell membrane, or should have omega-3 in their cell membrane. But when people are not eating fish, they're not taking a supplement, we're just getting way too much omega-6s, and the body can create omega-9s to replace the omega-3 that we are lacking. But the effect and the benefit is not the same thing. They're not having the right structure then, the cell membranes.
And that's why we have so much inflammation in our body. And people doesn't even understand that most diseases out there are due to inflammation. Like people that are having issues with diabetes or overweight and so on, it is due to inflammation. It's due to the cell membranes not working correctly. The nutrition is not able to get in correctly. And it's just so many things that are directly correlated to this. And it makes me sad that the knowledge is, we know about it, but the knowledge is not out there. And no one is educating people about it. Decreasing the levels of inflammation is really crucial if we want to have as healthy body as possible.
It's crazy that we don't teach nutrition as a mandatory course in school. And so many people just have no idea what the effects of what they're putting in their mouths and on their skin. I'm a skin specialist, and all these synthetic ingredients in our products are actually hurting our skin and killing.
Yeah, I can't believe they start already when they're young. They start already when they're young. You have a new baby, and what's the recommendation for a baby? The baby oil.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. It's terrifying about the recommendations people give to, and governments give to people, and yeah, the commercial and the food industry and everyone that have money to earn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And throughout this whole process, I don't know if you know my story, but last year I was debilitated in my bed with severe eczema, and I was bleeding everywhere and I couldn't move. And I was wondering why this was happening to me. And I was tired of getting steroid cream after steroid cream. And I knew that wasn't the answer. So I went down the rabbit hole of discovering new things about skin and nutrition and inflammation. And I discovered so many things that no doctor or dermatologist will tell you. And that's why I wanted to help people find the true way to heal, which is through food as the ultimate medicine. And then just studying how people keep accumulating inflammatory chemicals in their body through diet mostly, but also with stress and lifestyle choices, and how having too much of leukotrienes and prostaglandins are linked to all sorts of medical conditions, including cancer and heart disease, and how by changing your diet, you can add probably 10 years to your life if you just start now and start optimizing your health and your immune system. You could extend your longevity by so much, but most people just want to satisfy their taste buds, and it's sad to see. I'm huge into extending my longevity and looking at all the anti-aging processes and techniques. And I follow David Sinclair, who's a lead scientist at Harvard, and he recommends taking in resveratrol, which you can get from red wine or from blueberries. It's the red pigment in the skin that's really important. It's a key component in the anti-aging process. He also adds that activating hormetic responses in the body is important, which is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So these little stressors like fasting and exercising and saunas and cold showers or baths also signal the body to become stronger and to live longer. So I incorporate all that into my lifestyle right now.
No, that's good. I'm happy to hear that you are.
Yeah.
And I think more people have to understand these, that it's good to let your body rest from food, so we have time for the cell to relax, and the immune system to also relax. Because a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people have leaky gut. You know about this too. And when we're constantly eating and we are taught that we are supposed to have like 5 meals a day and snacks in between and keep your food coming in so you have a good insulin level all the time instead of having those spikes. And what they don't understand is that if we have leaky gut and every time we're eating, a lot of those particles and bacteria are leaking through our gut and going directly out to our bloodstream, and is creating gigantic immune responses that are not good and healthy for our body. And we're never leaving the body just to relax and rest.
Yeah, as a society, we've forgotten to eat only when we're hungry, and we're just constantly snacking, and our bodies need to recycle those dead proteins and cells inside our body, which the only way to do that is to stop eating and to let the body rest. And it's called autophagy. And Yoshinori, the scientist in Japan, discovered this and won a Nobel Prize in medicine for this discovery, and how autophagy can help remove those unwanted and dead proteins and cells that build up in the body. And it can help boost human growth hormone and help reduce inflammation in the body. And I try to do a 1-day fast every month. I do intermittent fasting every day, and I fast for about 18 hours. Now during the quarantine, since my activity level is lower and I can't go to the gym, I'm trying to eat only within a 4-hour window, and I'll fast for 20 hours.
And I know that there are probably someone out there listening to us right now, and they are wondering, like, by fasting for that long, I would never be able to survive. And I just, as a nutritionist, I just have to say, I feel ya. And I was that person before. But what I understood when I started studying is that the amount of fat we're eating in our diet is just way too low. If you have problems fasting, you have to increase the amount of fat, and it has to be good fats. Try to stay away from all omega-6 fats, all the vegetable oils, because those are just damaging to our cell membranes and our cells. So increase the fat you're eating. Don't choose just the lean meat, or add, it depends if you eat meat, but just make sure to add some healthy fats into your diet. If that is better for you, or if that is something else, try to do that, and then see how long time you will stay fuller and you're able to wait until the next meal instead of having the urge to snack in between meals. So I know I had, when I was growing up, I hardly ate any fat at all. I thought fat was disgusting. I thought you would get fatter by eating fats, like a lot of people do. And I was always hungry, and I could eat so much food. But as I started to understand the body and the need of our body and how long time it takes for the food to process if we're adding fat to it versus just eating fast carbs. Yeah, so I know you, I feel you, and just add some fat and see if that will extend the period that you feel like you're full.
Yeah, I'm curious, as a nutritionist yourself, what is your current diet like?
I'm actually eating mostly paleo, and then I go on a ketogenic diet every now and then, because since I have family history of cancer, and I know that most cancer types are surviving on glucose. I am fasting the glucose out of my system, all carbs out every now and then, and is eating strict keto every now and then I'm eating a paleo diet in between because I love fruits. Yeah.
If you could take one food and one herb to an island, what would you choose?
Oh, I would probably just one food. I mean, I'm probably gonna be one herb would
One
be
herb
parsley.
Parsley, okay.
Mm-hmm. Or ginger. Can I have two?
Sure.
Parsley and ginger. And one food, like as a dish or just as one ingredient?
A dish is fine.
Okay. No, I just love the Tex-Mex, like tacos, like just the homemade ones that you can, because you can just choose how much veggies you want and how much meat you want, and it's just a good, I do salad, the salad style, but it's just a good way to eat, I think. And you can add so many herbs, and it's just so delicious.
I love tacos, and a lot of these taco trucks in Los Angeles are hurting because no one's outside, because we're all supposed to be quarantined, and it's kind of crazy. All these small businesses are just getting decimated.
Yeah, it's really, really hard for them. And I'm so sad for them. And I wished I could help in some way. So as soon as this thing is over, please, people, go out and buy locally. Help your small businesses survive after this crisis.
And you're in Norway, you said?
Yes, I'm in Norway.
Yeah. And in Norway,
I have been living in the state.
And in Norway, what has been the response like? Has the government responded rapidly or too slow? What was that like?
I think Norway is one of the governments that was responding the fastest compared to how many people that was sick with corona. So we have got it under really good control, but I'm a little bit worried now because we have really high restrictions and they're going to loosen restrictions up. I am not so sure if putting all that force in that early is the smartest thing to do in the long term, because it's hard for them to go back on, like, if they're loosening up the restrictions and then go back to make them harder again, because it will affect people for so long period. But it's really hard to know what's best and what's not too best in these questions. They're very hard to discuss. I have no knowledge like about that, how the government is taking their decisions and what they're basing them off. When they have it in such a good control, though, I just hope that we could just stay like this and be very strict for 2 weeks and then it would all be gone. But obviously that is not the case. So it's really hard, and I'm feeling sad for the government needing to take all the heat and have to take decisions that is affecting so many people's lives, so many businesses. And if they're not affecting the businesses, they're affecting people with poor health instead. So it's just so hard. They cannot do it right way, and they will always, yeah, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just went to the grocery store to pick up more food, and it was funny because all the vegetables were still in stock and everything else was gone.
I know, it is so crazy how people are prioritizing, and people are buying lots and lots of junk because they have a very long shelf life and they're not buying that much vegetables that's actually helping us and boost our immune system. And yeah, it is. I have seen many react about that. I'm also reacting about that. If you have a freezer, it's easy to buy vegetables and chop them up and make pre-made packages with soup, for example, and things that you can throw in. So yeah, you can do a lot if you want to stay healthy.
Now that I know almost too much about nutrition, I view the world in terms of inflammation and whether that food or action increases or decreases inflammation. And whenever I see someone eating junk food, it's I just see the TNF levels and leukotrienes and prostaglandins just kind of spike up in their bodies, and that's how I see the world.
Yeah, and I know, I mean, my kids think I'm damaged, of course, but they're really good kids. They're very healthy kids. Some people are like, how can you get your kids to take omega-3s on a spoon and eat vegetables? And having too much knowledge can be stressful at times too. You just have to find that balance. But what's so fascinating to see is that I have been measuring the cell membranes in people all over the world right now. And what we can see is that in United States in particular, the average ratio between omega-3 and omega-6s are like 25-1 on average.
Wow.
And it is crazy because 25 times too many omega-6 molecules in every single cell. That means that you have 25 times, 25 pyromaniacs to every fireman that is trying to hose that inflammation down. And it's just too much for the body to handle. And when the body is having so much inflammation, the EPA that is supposed to put the inflammation away down and keep it on a safe level, it's not able to. And that's when we have this immune system work too hard all the time. And when we have that immune system reacting to it and work too hard, that's when we create so many autoimmune diseases. The amount of kids having asthma and bringing an asthma spray to school with them, that is not normal. That is not normal. It's food, it's diet related, and it's something we can do something about. For me, I didn't become allergic to bananas because I was eating too many bananas. I became allergic to bananas because my immune response was so high due to my inflammation levels in my body. And when I was eating bananas, together that I had a little bit issue with leaky gut, that immune response just was triggered by bananas. But when I was able to take away the inflammation in in my cells, that was not an issue anymore. And that's what I'm seeing in a lot of the clients I have that have skin issues. I don't even have to change their diet. As soon as we're getting them in the right level of omega-3, omega-6, their skin clear up. Their eczemas are disappearing and their psoriasis are disappearing because the inflammation in their gut disappears. And of course, we get better results, we get faster results when we're also targeting and cutting out the food that can cause inflammation. But really, the food that is causing inflammation shouldn't be a problem unless you have inflammation in your body. So it is very, very fascinating. What I see in most people is that when I'm measuring the DHA and the EPA level, a lot of people have almost no EPA at all. And the reason for that is that the brain is always prioritized in omega-3s. So if you have omega-3 in your system, they will always convert the EPA to DHA for as much as you need in order to help your brain first, and the cells come second. So if you're not getting enough with DHA, they take the EPA and convert it. So just getting 170 milligrams of DHA a day, that's not enough, especially when it's not an antioxidant binding it either. When I'm measuring people around the world, people that are saying that they are already taking omega-3 supplement, they are still out of balance. Like 97% of the supplements out there, it's still not getting people in balance. And that is disturbing because, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to go in the stores. You're looking at the shelves. You're trying to find something that looks good and you buy it and you hope that it's working. You hope that it's working. And that's what people know. But that's why it's so interesting now when we are living in 2020, technology is, developing all the time. And now we can actually measure and see if it's working. We can see and prove that it's working in our own body. Even if it's working for someone else, it may not work in your body, but you can prove it now that, okay, my body is actually getting health benefits from this. It's actually working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. Most people are just sold on the marketing and the packaging, and they have no idea. And I didn't know the required amounts of EPA and DHA that I should be taking. And so, yeah, thank you for teaching me today.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So where can people find that test?
Oh, they can order it online through my web shop. Are you recommending people prebiotic in your?
Yeah, well, probiotic or prebiotic?
Prebiotic.
Well, I tell them to eat as much fiber as they can from vegetables and fruits, and then I also recommend them getting a probiotic that has been proven in clinical studies to give health benefits. And just like with omega-3s, most people will get a probiotic just being sold on the marketing or the number of CFUs. And usually these probiotic supplements don't even show the strain of bacteria that are inside. So it could contain the wrong strain or strains that haven't been proven. They just show the genus and species of the bacteria. And that's why I promote Skinessa, which is a skin probiotic that's on my website, because the strains inside have been proven in clinical studies to help improve skin quality.
That is really good. See, I am not working with any probiotic because I have had issues trying to find a probiotic that it's actually good. It's so hard for us to know if the bacteria that we're eating is still alive when it comes down to our gut and is beneficial for us. So that's why I'm always promoting a prebiotic before a probiotic, but I also recommend people to get their probiotics in sauerkraut and in natural things, the kefir and things that have natural bacteria that we know that the bacteria is there. because it can also be hard if people don't understand that bacteria we have, they need food in order to survive. And if we're feeding them the wrong food, the bacteria will keep on dying. So if people are not eating a probiotic and it's adding prebiotic fibers to their diet, their probiotic will also be like tossing their money in the ocean, because you will have to eat that constantly and the bacteria may still die off. But when we're looking at what the science are showing is that when we are adding prebiotic fibers, the gut bacteria is able to duplicate faster when it gets fed properly than it can just by adding probiotic and not doing anything else. So but I'm always like, if you have a good probiotic and you can do that together with the prebiotic, fine, that is awesome. If you can only choose one thing, I always recommend prebiotic instead, because then I know that the gut bacteria people have, that it will duplicate faster. So, but it's also very interesting because a lot of the prebiotics out there, they are only containing like one prebiotic fiber, or maybe two, or perhaps three. But the thing is, our colon, there are so many different things that's happening in different phases in our colon. And these are happening because we have different kinds of bacteria and different kinds of reactions happening. And all these different kinds of bacteria, they need different kind of food. They prefer different food. So the prebiotic I'm working with, they actually have 5 different kinds of prebiotics. Fibers that is helping the gut in all different stages, which is just amazing. So I really like people to understand that it's so important. So even if you are going out to the store, you're buying a prebiotic, it is super important to see, okay, what kind of prebiotic is it? Is it only one kind or is it multiple? And gain an understanding for what the body needs.
Yeah. Most people don't get enough fiber in every single day, and it's so important for digestive health, which is important for immune health, because 80% of your immune system lies in the gut. And so we have to educate others on how to eat, on how to eat and optimize our health. Otherwise, so many people just aren't eating the right foods, and they just don't know, and it's damaging them in the short term and the long term.
Mm-hmm. And WHO, they just released a study in 2019, so last year, and the study was that if you're able to double the amount of fibers, the average person, so 9 out of 10 people are eating too little prebiotic fibers, and so an average person is eating about 15 grams of fiber a day and only 3.5 grams of prebiotic fibers. But if we're able to double that to 30 grams fibers a day and 7 grams of prebiotic fibers, that was actually associated with a 30% decrease in total mortality. So, and they saw a benefit. I mean, it was about 20 to 25% less chance to get any of the breast cancer and colon cancer and heart issues, and stroke was also on that list on the study. So it is so crucial for people to get enough with prebiotics fibers. 9 out of 10 is not getting enough, and it is easy to do if you know what to do, but it is hard if you don't have the knowledge. So that is why it's super important to get together with someone, look over your diet, see what you can improve yourself, and if you're not able to improve it, if you don't like that kind of food, then a good supplement could be the answer for your health.
This was awesome, Michaela. For the listeners and viewers out there, where can they find you?
Oh, they find me on my webpage, www.foodchangelives.com. I also got Facebook, Food Change Lives, that you can like my page, and I'm announcing when I'm holding my next webinar there. So yeah, you find me there. You also find me on Instagram, Omega3 Heals.
Love it. Okay, to the trillions of people listening and watching, make sure you check out her website.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Michaela, so much for joining the podcast. And as always, stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Peace.
Bye.